Hi, this time I'm going to talk about the real player agency. This video is going to feature the recent part of the Ravenhawk campaign. As always, great performance, strategies and tactics on the part of Big Bad RPG, RPG Grandma, Eli. They did amazing as always. I think there are several misconceptions concerning player agency, at least when it comes to how modern tabletop RPGs have been communicated. And of course, this video is going to feature spoilers for the recent part of the Ravenhawk campaign, so please check it out. It's part 9. When it comes to tabletop RPGs, there is this horrible false notion of these games being storytelling, telling stories, and writing books. You are not telling a story about the player characters. You are not writing a book about the player characters. You are playing a role-playing game. You are playing a role. You are playing a game. You are living the adventure. You are there. You are not writing about how your character made a cut and the injury happened and then he stabbed the monster and then he won the fight. No, you're taking your actions, and depending on the system, maybe those actions will be successful or not. This is also based on your description and the context, all of that. So the recent Ravenhawk campaign was the recent part of the campaign was the best example of that. You see this moment where they are being surrounded by berserkers. A nefarious ritual is happening. And later on, this huge tree aberration, this tree blight, attacked them. The adventurers, the players role-playing as the adventurers, were always thinking about the context, carrying out their actions, their attack, describing the way that they were using their abilities, their powers. But also, because we are using reactive combat, this is not usual in Dungeons and Dragons. This is my own personal tweak. I wouldn't say that it is original. Many other tabletop RPG systems have mechanics to handle the way that the character is blocking, defending, dodging. But I put great emphasis on when it comes to the description. If you are describing your parries, your blocks, your dodging, etc., in the best way possible, and it makes sense with the attacks that you are receiving, you're going to get some bonuses, perhaps even automatic successes when avoiding the enemy's attacks. When the tree blight was upon them, great decision. Mostly encouraged or fostered by RPG Grandma as Moo. They decided to run away as seasoned mercenaries from the Greyhawk setting. They know their strategies and tactics, and they saw this huge tree and they knew that something was pretty wrong. It was the size of an ogre. Ismark and Irina, their non-player character allies, were fighting elsewhere. So they decided to head towards their direction because they knew they would have a better chance of surviving if they were to fight all together against that tree blight. That's why you keep the party together. Only the most moronic of individuals do not understand the safety of numbers, the advantage when it comes to outnumbering your foe. So, perfect decision. As you could see, this tree blight was attacking 4 times per round with 2 branches and 2 grasping roots. I also really like it when RPG Grandma Asmu, she broke free from the root. It was very spectacular. And they all use their spells when it comes to Big Bad RPG as Jace and Eli as Marcus. They started to blast the tree with everything that they had. And you also had the support by Ismark and Irina. Great teamwork. And here's another important aspect of the player agency. The players, through their player characters, they decide what they will do, what they do, the action that they take. instead of being passive about the course of the adventure, they are always thinking ahead about the next step, very cautiously. Even if you are running a story arc adventure, because Curse of Strahd is a sandbox campaign, even if you handle it in a story arc sort of way, there are many ways to get from one point of the arc to the other. You don't need to beeline or fall upon the rails, be shackled to the rails, and just keep on going through all of the encounters. Think of the different ways on solving the situations. As long as you are role playing, the possibilities are limitless. During the session, they were always thinking on where to go next. Should we go against Castle Ravenloft now that Strahd is busy elsewhere? Should we go and attack the Druid's Grove because they are about to completely wreck the winery, the base of the Keepers of the Feather? And after that, they had several choices. Should they return and deliver the wedding dress to the abbot? Should they explore Arginbostholt in order to obtain some alliance with the undead knights? Should they explore the ruins of Veres in search of treasure? Should they go to the Solenka Pass, which is what they actually decided upon, because one of the prophecy, the treasures of the prophecy, is supposed to be hidden there? The agency of the players lies on their decisions. That's it. This is so evident in good tabletop role-playing games that, for example, in the session, oftentimes I would say, RPG Grandma, Eli, Big Val RPG, they are constantly forgetting about using their inspiration because they are so accustomed for roleplay to give them those advantages based on their description. I would still encourage them to use their inspiration points because I can always reward them with more inspiration points as long as they spend those points. But like I said, because they are used to roleplay, to actually role-playing in a tabletop role-playing game, not telling a story about their characters, not writing something about their characters, not having a conversation, asking questions, can I do this, can I do that? No, they take action with decision, with confidence. And so many things will go their way as long as they are using strategies, tactics, playing intelligently. I also really like it how Big Val RPG, as Jace, he decided to use that spell to speak with the remains of that other warrior. Brilliant. And now they obtained a lot of information that they worked into the plan to this explosive wedding, so to speak. You need to see the part of the session, but it's a plan that they want to carry out in order to take out many foes at the same time. Remember, this is not a video game, this is not a board game. You can carry out those plans. You have your set encounters in a purchased module or a module of your own design, but the players are going to take on those encounters in many different ways. Some encounters may even happen away from that adventure site because the players have concocted some sort of plan, some Machiavellian maneuver to cause the destruction of their enemies. This is what tabletop role-playing games are all about. They provide that fun that cannot be had in board games or in video games. In video games, you are limited by what has been programmed into the video game itself. If it's not programmed there, you cannot do it. In the board games, and this is not like attacking video games or board games, I enjoy them both, but they are different experiences. You enjoy video games because of the gameplay, the combination of the sound and the graphics, but when it comes to immersion, video games simply cannot stand against the power of the human imagination in its rawest form through roleplay. When it comes to board games, you are still limited by the rules. Unless it is in the rulebook, you cannot play around with the effects of the spells, of the actions that you can take, etc. Because that's why you play board games. You have fun winning the board game, working within those limitations. But when it comes to tabletop RPGs, there are just so many ways in which you can use your skills, your actions, your spells, talking with this non-player character, investigating this other site. You are not confined to a board. That's also really ignorant when some people call tabletop role-playing games board games. And they do. Just take a look when some popular things like Cyberpunk, a very popular tabletop RPG, when the anime came out and all of that, and the video game, there were a lot of YouTubers that just wanted to get on the wave of the algorithm, and they started to produce videos on Cyberpunk, and they kept on calling the tabletop role-playing game a board game. Specifically, they called the role-playing game a board game. I was face-palming so much. So yes, that's the true player agency. You don't need... It is fun to use those resources, meta currencies, that allow you to modify some section of the encounter and whatnot. But if you don't have that, the agency is still there, based on the actions that the players take through their player characters. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for your likes and your comments. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. And remember, roleplay solves everything. Once again, thank you, and see you later.